I need, that stuff is considered firewood in my eyes. But I'm going to save a couple of these small boards because they're pretty clear and they ought to dry nice. So I'm going to put some of the smaller ones. I have 2 or 3 more over there in the bucket of the backhoe. I'm going to put them in the greenhouse and let them dry in there. The boards that are full size, even though I have a live edge on them, I'll show you these. There's 2 layers of maple there. This is her. I'm working on the 2nd layer of maple. So those are 1-inch boards. Now there's a major crack in there that does have a pretty big crack, but I might be able to use this end or that end for an end cable. So I'm just going to hang on to them and I'll decide what to do later after they dry. Now I'm going to put some 2-inch stuff over here. This is 2-inch that I'll be laying on this for the first row anyway. Pretty warm in there today. Look at the humidity, 50%. Now, so I need to put another log on here and then we'll cut that up, see where we stand with this maple. Carmine's not here today. He had to go away for 2 or 3 days and then he'll be back on Sunday or Monday. Okay, YouTube. So here we have a maple log. The statistics, it's 8 foot 3 inches long, just right for my kiln, and it's 14 inches wide. So checking the cant list here, a 9.9 or a 10-inch cant possibly out of this. So I need to get planks out of these boards for the guy who where I got the tree, because he wants to use it for siding, and this is promising, but it has a pretty good kink in it here. I'd say there's probably a 2-inch kink in it, so that's going to take something off that cant. I'll probably end up with a 7-inch cant. We'll see what happens, but either way I still want to get some maple boards. If I can't make siding, what he wants to do is use board and batten siding, so I want a 12-inch board. If I can't get 12-inch boards out of anything, at least this one, I should be able to get them out of the big one. But Carmine wants to be here when I cut the big one, so I'm not cutting it today, but I'm going to cut this one. The other day somebody had made a comment about a board that's bent, and they said that you should cut the horns off of the board first because you read something on a website somewhere. Listen, if you throw the bend to either side, okay, now that's the opposite of what they were saying. If you throw the bend to either side and make a straight cut, like what I'm doing here, I'm going to make a straight cut here and a straight cut on the opposite side, I'll turn it 180. You end up with something that you can put against the stops and that you can actually hold in place good because you're working with flat edges. So, you know, I think that before you go reading on the internet what you are spouting out to someone else as gospel, maybe you should try sawing a little bit, because if you saw the boards, you'll see that the way I'm doing it is the easiest way on a machine like this. So you lay the bow to the side, one side or the other, and then make a straight cut until you get to where the cant is. If you want to save boards that are not part of the cant, then that's up to you. You know, you still need to get the flitch off unless you're going to save the curved end of the tree, you know, for something. But I want boards, planks, lumber. That's what I'm after. Also, guys, when I say the most amount of wood, I'm seeing that there's people that are not knowing what I meant. When I say the most amount of wood, I'm talking about width and length combined. I want the maximum width and the maximum length. I don't want little pieces of wood. Now I have some small pieces on the table there that I'm going to use for tabletops. or end tables, but they're not going to do me any good as far as lumber goes, okay? For tabletops, yeah, I can use some of them small ones, but I'm looking for lumber, okay? Long pieces, that's what I'm after. I just want to show you this here. If you look at this board that I just cut off of here, you can see how narrow it is at this end, how thin it is. It's not really going to do me any good. Now, at this end here, it might be 3 inches thick in the very middle, but it quickly runs out to nothing. So at the most, that would be a small piece from here to the end here of 1x possibly, or you could leave that curve in it if you wanted to make a flat bench. And you could use that to make a bench or something, but I'm not interested in that. Now, if I have customers who do want that, if they come around, then I'd be happy to do that for them. But I haven't gotten those kind of customers in my area, so until I do, those are firewood for me. If you know anybody who wants them, point them to the channel and get a hold of me that way. I'd be more than happy to, you know, sell them some stuff very reasonably priced, just to get it out of here instead of cutting it into firewood. Alright, let me go on with this log here now. Now, like I say, that thing's only 8'3", so I need the maximum width to make a board out of this thing. I've only got about 5 inches there. It averages 8 inches all the way up there. Now, because I've got the full width from here up, even though it's not 8 foot long, it's 8'3" to here, remember, okay? So even though I don't have that full width here, if I go down a little further, this is going to move over into here somewhere. But I don't want to take too much off of it. I'm going to whittle it down to see where I stand. So I'm going to turn this thing over 180, and then I'm going to cut another flat spot on that, okay? Now, also, so you know, this log, in order to get the pith in the center, I had to raise this end up a little bit here, okay? Now here's what seems like a couple people don't understand this, and I think you should learn this. I have a 2x4 underneath here to bring that up so that the pith is level with the bunk. Once I turn this log so that the flat spot is down, I no longer need what I'll call that a toe board. I no longer need a toe board on there. Now if I turn it on the bark side, either this side here or the opposite side, then it's possible I'll need a toe board to find the center. Probably I will, but I don't need it when I turn it 180 because this piece, this cut is already parallel to the bunk. So let me turn that and cut it. missed my pipe holder for the can hook, but I keep forgetting to buy a piece of pipe. Being held at this end with a little lock plus that. Looks like about 12 inches might be the minimum of my cut here. 12 inches is going to take pretty much off of this end because you can see that it sweeps up. See this log sweeps up here? It would not pay me to raise that end to center anything, because right now the pith is already centered because of making that first cut parallel to the bunk. So the pith will stay centered. If I raise it to try and save wood down here, I lose the pith being in the center. That's a 13-inch cant there, not cant, but it's a 13-inch thick cut that I made there. So it didn't go all the way down, because at that far end there, it's lower than 13. But we'll see what it looks like. Nice features in that as far as different design goes. The cut's nice and straight. Yeah, you can see I need about an inch or so to get down in there pretty well. The thing is an inch down is only going to give me, well, that'll give me a 10-inch cant. So if I go down 1 inch, it'll give me a 10-inch thick piece, and that's the cant that I want. So the problem with that is on the opposite side, I need to go down another inch. So that would only come down to 9 inches right away. Let me take an inch out of this and we'll see where we stand. have 11 inches there for the thickness of that attempted cant. But at that far end up there, you can see I still have bark on the board. So if I was going for something other than a cant, it's possible that, like this, the board that I just cut off, I'm going to cut it at about 4 foot and save that maple piece. I'm going to dry that and save that for a tabletop. And I'm going to do the same thing with this, but I need to get down to something that'll give me an 8-foot long board. That's what I want. So that far end is scrapped. Now, even though the pith is in the center of the board, this way, okay, the center this way. It's not in the center this direction. So this is a lot higher now. So I need to pick that side up 4 inches if I'm concerned about the pith. And in this case I am. What I want to try to do is get from the very bottom of the bark and come through and take out the least amount that I can take out. Now here's the thing, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. If you just pull your tape tight, you can see how much I'm going to lose over here. Okay? Now if I come up a little bit and sacrifice maybe a little bit of the board, I can come down to maybe this point here. So you're looking at about 4.5 inches. I'm still losing there. If I come down 4.5 inches, that'll give me an 8-inch cant. And if you remember, we were supposed to get a 10. I told you the log was out 2, and that's more like what's going to happen. So it'll be like an 8. I doubt if it's going to be an 8 by 8 cant. It might be. Okay? It might be. So I'm going to raise that end up 4 inches, because this end is 8 inches higher than that end. So I'm going to raise that end up 4, see what happens. See, I'm almost off my roller here. Let's see what we've got here. I'm measuring off of my 6x6 frame. I could measure from the ground up. The center of this tree right now is 34 inches off the concrete. At this end, 34 inches off the concrete, so that worked out good as far as flattening the pith out. Now, as far as how the cut that I'm going to get out of this, that's 16 there, 14, about 16. See, the two ends, which is what they call the horns, are sticking up. I need to cut them off. And the way I have this thing leveled here, in order to just pass through this, I need to make a cut at 14 inches. So 14 inches will take about 3 or 4 inches off of the horn. That's what I'm going to do. There's nothing left in the middle there, and there's only probably a 1-inch board from maybe 4 feet down to about 6 foot down, and then it gets thick again, same as this. So that's known as cutting the horns off on that point. Now a lot of guys talk about cutting the horns off first. Here's the problem with cutting the horns off first. You see how I barely have anything over there on that end bracket? There's only like an inch holding on to that. Over here I'm okay, but on that end I don't. If the horn is so bad that it's above the bracket, how do you hold it? You don't. That's why I don't cut the horns first. I cut the horns second, or third rather. The third cut off the log will be the horn. Newer view, that looks like a nice board over there, but there's no thickness to it. Again, if I was going to make a curved bottom bench, yes, you can use it for that, but not for what I need. And I don't want a whole bunch of those pieces laying around here. They're just too much of a nuisance for me. I got 8 inches here for sure. Have 8 inches if I roll that 180 and cut that. So I think I'll do that. See what we end up with there. Because I just cut this tree down the other day, there's a lot of water in it, and the bark has been peeling off really easy. That's why I lost my grip there. But it's really a nice board that's coming out of this. It's almost perfectly clear except for some of the nice looking features there. So we're going to dog that against a little stop and see how we end up now with a nice size 8x8 cant I hope. Now before I go right after that cant, which is going to throw me right about here, I'm going to try pulling some 1-inch pieces off of that and see how that looks. See if I can get anything out of it. The problem with that is all the way down here, at this end, I have to go to 8 inches to get into the bark. I could cut it up in here. I'm just going to go to an 8 inch. Some excellent looking wood here. Very nice. Nice and white. when you're sweating like this, all the sawdust sticks to you. Now there's some stuff in the middle here that can be taken out of here. I think I'll cut this at 5 feet, maybe 4.5 feet. That'll give me this big knot here, these 3 knots and these features that come with the maple. If I cut it here, I'll probably get about 3 or 4 boards out of that. Yeah, if 2-inch, I can get 2 nice boards out of that. Give you a close-up of this so you can see what we got here. Some nice looking stuff. Now there's no cracks in that, so that's going to make some nice wood. Yep. I'm trying to see if I should turn that again. Well, if I leave it there like that, I can get some 1x8s out of it. I'll probably get 3 or 4, maybe 3 really nice actual 1x10s. Maybe 3 1x10s out of here, 8 foot long. So I'm going to shoot for those at the moment. Now should I go 1 inch? See, I'm looking at these features, look pretty nice. Could make a nice table from something like this too, tabletop. Oh boy, would this stuff make nice legs, all this beautiful wood in here. Nice legs you could turn with that. But I'm not interested in the small pieces. In fact, maybe I could cut some of those into legs. They would look nice as well with the 2 different colors in it. I think I'll take a 2-inch piece off here, and then I'll take 1 inch. Yeah, I'm going to take a 2-inch piece off of that so I can save that big feature there. And then I'll take 1-inch pieces. Took a nice cut out of there. Looks like the boss is bringing me a nice bottle of cold water, so I'm going to stop for a little bit and take that. Okay guys, so originally I had said a 10-inch cant. I said I would end up with a 8-inch cant because of the bend, and the lucky thing here is I ended up with a 10-inch, and this would have been 8-inch. I just cut a 2-inch piece out of that. So it was an 8x10-inch cant because it was bowed only in one direction. Nice wood though, excellent wood. These guys that make bowls would like this type of stuff. Even out of this cant right here, you can probably make a 6-inch bowl out of it. But I'm not worried about bowls. I want boards. So I'm going to cut some 1-inch boards out of this now, like I said. What I wanted to show you here is you can see where this is cracked. That was the outer edge of that first log. This second log's got no cracks in it. Nice boards. So we'll be good with this. Oh, I got another 1x10, so that's 2 of them. gotta go with my boss and change the light in the chicken coop. Be right back. So that's another 1x10 there, and there'll be 3 more yet. 2 more. Or maybe 3. So this is working out nice for what I have intended now. This maple is coming, you know, after the framing lumber, after the, first was the framing lumber to build the stuff that I built, the shed and also the kiln. Then we did the red oak, which is for all the molding, which was the intention of buying the mill to start off with. And now we're ending up with some beautiful furniture lumber. The reason I flopped that over is because the board's laying nice and flat on the bunk, and if I cut, I'm going to probably be taking 1/4 of an inch off of this to get to a 1-inch board, because I don't want to put it in the kiln if it's not 1 inch thick. It'll goof up my stickering. So if flipping it over gives me a wider board than if I cut the 1/4 inch off the opposite side because of that bark on that back side there. So guys, you can see that I've got almost three, if I count the 2-inch over here, I've got 3 layers of very nice maple, very nice. I'll dry this good by next year sometime, actually probably in 2 months with the kiln, but I won't be taking it out before next year. I won't take it out before winter because I'm just not going to have any need for it or room. So I do need to get more maple cut so I can get it up to the bottom of my fan housing so that I can get the air to circulate in here good. But we're getting there, and that certainly is some nice looking stuff. You know, you can't beat this Woodmizer. I mean, really, I cut that 1/4-inch board off all the way down there to give me a 1-inch board. Really nice. Nice machine. Okay guys, so that's it for today. Probably around 4 o'clock or so, I think. Yeah, 20 after 4. Have a good one. Bye.